know, there is nothing worse than having an area of expertise that you know it will change the lives of others the same way that it changed your life, only to realize that every time you talk about it, no one is listening. Like there's crickets. Exactly. You want to share your message with the world. It is critical that when you share your expertise, you share it with people who are truly interested in hearing it, that can benefit from it, and are likely to execute it. Every successful speaker, every successful expert, every successful entrepreneur has to consistently reach the right audience. And that's the audience that craves what they have, their information, their product, their expertise. I'm Donna St. Louis, and I've spent the last 15 years of my career starting, building, running, and growing businesses based on delivering expertise. I've also coached some amazing industry professionals on how to develop their own businesses to success. You know, most of the time people say, I can speak to anyone when you ask them who their target audience is. And they do. They think that everyone is their audience. So I want you to think about this for a moment. I'm going to give you a scenario. Sam Ranson is a toll booth operator. He's been a toll booth operator for 27 years. He wants to talk to you about toll booth operations and how being a toll booth operator changed his life. Could he speak to you? Could he? Sure, he could speak to you. Should he speak to you about toll booth operating? How they separate the dollars from the coins and the big dollars from the little dollars, and how people should turn off their windshield wipers, and everything else that he could come up with to share with you about toll booth operations, how his day looks as a toll booth operator? Are you really interested in learning about toll booth operations? Probably not. And therefore, Sam should not waste his time or yours on the day-to-day work of a toll booth operator. No matter how fantastic you think your topic is, you should not waste your time sharing it with people who simply don't care and don't know to care. Your goal is to share your information with people who have an interest in what you do, who want to know more and can't wait to hear your specific view on the topic. Those very interested people, they make up your audience. They make up your perfect audience. Remember in the last video, we talked about your area of expertise and how to leverage and measure your skills to identify your expertise. So we looked at your skills and we said, boom, this is my area of expertise. I talked a little bit about when I was a project manager and how being a project manager was just my role. But the skill that I consistently brought to the table was my ability to take these large enterprise projects and bring them back from the brink of failure, how I would save jobs and find a return on investment. And I did that by turning the project into a business. So who was my audience? Who really wanted to know how I did that? Who wanted me to do that for them? In this video, you're going to discover your audience, because the answer to those questions, that's how you find your audience. Your audience are the people that want your expertise directly or indirectly in order to obtain a specific benefit. Now, I'm going to make this super simple for you right now, because everyone always thinks that they can tell you how to find your audience. They say, take every customer in the world, slice and dice them until you have this Frankenstein of a customer. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's one super simple, ridiculously easy way to figure out exactly who your audience is. So listen close. Press rewind and play it again, because no one is ever going to tell you as simply who your audience is than I am going to tell you right now. Your audience are those people who today are facing the challenges that you overcame yesterday. These are the people that are following in your footsteps and can use your help right now. There is no need to slice and dice every person in the world to find your audience, because your audience is staring at you in the mirror from your past. They're not looking for motivation. They're already motivated by the virtue of the fact that they have an issue that they need to solve. They're looking for a solution, and they want your intellectual property to solve their challenge. They want your expertise. So I want you to think about that for 1 second. Your audience is the person that you were in your history. So I'm going to give you a tangible example. Let's take a look at that project management role. And you, by the way, do this along with me. So remember I said I was an executive project manager, and one of the things that I would do is bring large enterprise projects back from the brink of failure, save jobs, and find a return on investment. So specifically, I was an executive project manager of enterprise projects. And I didn't write the whole thing, I just put executive project manager. Now, before I was this executive project manager for enterprise projects, I was a project leader. Now, before I was an enterprise project leader, I was a certified project manager. Now, before I was a certified project manager, I was a project manager. This means that I had not gotten my certification, but I was probably interested in getting it. And before I was a project manager, I was interested in project management. So I was an executive enterprise project manager. Then I was a project leader, enterprise project leader. Then I was a certified project manager. And then I was a project manager. And then I was interested in project management. So guess, if you just had to guess who would be interested in following my path, benefiting from my experiences, my skills, and my knowledge. Guess who is sitting in my audience and waiting for me to tell them my secrets? All of these people. See, if I was sharing my expertise as a project management expert, then all of these people make up my direct audience, meaning that they would all directly benefit from my knowledge. The person who's interested in being a project manager, well, they probably want to know about being a project manager. What is that really like, and how do you climb the corporate ladder? The person who's a project manager, well, they probably want to know what it takes to become certified. How do you do that? What are all the steps that you have to go through? The person who's certified probably wants to know, how do I get from just being a project manager, a certified project manager, to really start working on some of these enterprise projects? How do I start working on these technology projects? How do I start working on these really, really big projects that, are global? How do I do that? The person who's an enterprise project leader, well, they're trying to figure out, how do I get a seat at the table? How do I get on the board? How do I get in the executive ranks? How do I get where the chief operations officers and the CEOs are? How do I do that? I just want you to know, just in case you missed it, you should be saying, holy crap, I just found my audience. Because in less than 10 minutes, you know exactly who your audience is. Because if you put your role, just one of your roles up here, that you leveraged your expertise in, and then you tracked that role backwards, you know exactly who your direct audience is. Boom, right there. We just found your direct audience. It's right freaking there. And what do I have to say to that? But wait, there's more. Okay, that was my really bad accent, and it was an ode to my friend Jeff Ram and Nigel Reisner in the UK. I'm just saying, it was really bad. But really, there is more, because remember, I said these are your direct audiences. These are the people who directly want to know and have your information. So I would have to make a decision. How do I reach them? How do I share my information with them? Do I want to put on project management classes? Do I want to write a book on project management? Do I want to spend my career teaching project managers how to manage projects? In other words, I would be working with them directly. And in this business, by the way, we call this retail. Business to consumer, or B2C. So this is direct. This is B2C. This is retail. This is me sharing my expertise directly to the people. In other words, they would pay me directly to share that information. Whether they're buying my products, whether they're paying to come to my training classes, it doesn't matter. I'm looking at them as single individual customers. Now let's look at the indirect customers, and this is a little different, because the indirect audience member, or the indirect customer, is the customer that benefits from the direct customer having your information. Here's a better way of thinking about that. Who would benefit from a project manager being able to either bring back a project from the brink of disaster, or keep a project from ever reaching failure, from ever starting to even go down that path? Think about it. Who would want an enterprise project leader to be successful? Well, the answer, the organization that the project manager works for. Because no matter how you cover it, the project manager isn't coming out of his pocket to make sure the project is successful. It's the dude that's giving him the money to make sure that the project is successful. So the organization that hires these people would be the first answer. Any company that would hire me as a project manager would also hire me to ensure that this project manager never found failure. So since I worked for large Fortune 500 organizations that had significant IT departments, I could actually put them as organizations that would likely hire me now. Okay? These are indirect audience members. These are more like buyers. They don't directly want to consume my information, but they want to make sure their people have the information. So they would hire me, right? Who else would be interested in making sure that these people got an education? Well, associations. Associations are all about educating their members, right? So associations would be another organization. So project management-based associations would be very, very interested in hiring me for my expertise. They would be really, really interested in going, hey, Donna, can you come and share that information with our people? So these people are indirect buyers or indirect audience members. So we call them indirect B2B or wholesale. In other words, I'm not going to do business with each one of their individual members, right? So when I work with the association, I'm working with the association leadership to share my message with all their members. So they're going to pay me one time to speak to all their members. They're not going to pay me a fee per person that's in the audience, right? So this is wholesale. So these are your two types of audiences, right? These are your people who are directly following your footsteps, and these are people who are vested in their success. The hiring organization wants them to be successful. The association that they're a part of, they want them to be successful. So that's how you figure out your two organizations. Now, if you were with me and you identified your expertise from the last video, and now you know your specific audience from this video, as well as who your indirect audience members are, right? Then you have the elements that you need to identify your niche. And I'm going to give you a little example, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of them. So let's first use the information regarding project management, because we've been using that example, so I want to stick with that. Now, keep in mind that your niche is a combination of your expertise, what you bring to the table, and your audience. And that also your audience, you want to think about maybe your industry sometimes. So when I talk about project management, specifically, I didn't work in civil engineering project management. I worked in technology project management. So that's very specific. So I could say that I work with project management, let's try that again. I could say that I work with project management professionals and their companies to bring struggling technology projects back from the brink of failure to find success and a return on investment. That's very specific, right? I could even go even deeper and say that I work with enterprise projects, because in the project management arena, that's very different. An enterprise project is just this huge project. I could even go further and say I work with enterprise global projects, right? But the more I niche down, the higher money that I can demand. Now, using my entrepreneur example, I could say that I work with experts with, let's say, 15 years worth of business experience that want to leverage their expertise to build a lifestyle business as a speaker. See how that's very specific, right? Notice that I didn't say I work with current seasoned speakers, or that I work with speakers that have absolutely no business expertise. I'm literally saying I work with experts that have significant business expertise, and they want to leverage that expertise to build a lifestyle business as a speaker. That's very specific. So after this video, I want you to take a moment. I want you to consider your niche. So how are you going to use this information? What are you going to do next? See, most of the time, people struggle trying to find their perfect audience because they make a critical mistake and they think that everyone is their audience and the expertise in their area of expertise is for everyone. It's not. Don't get me wrong, project management is a great, great topic, and I absolutely loved it, but it doesn't mean that everybody gives a crap about it or that they want to hear it. They don't want to learn the 42 processes associated with the project management methodology. Do you? I mean, because if you do, this could take a whole nother spin. My point is that your goal is to share your information with an audience that really, really cares. So if you got your expertise from the last video, and if you have your audience from this video, you can take this information right now and you could develop a positioning statement and you can go start pounding the pavement with that, quite honestly. But then you'd probably be doing the whole Home Depot thing again because those are just two tools and it's not the blueprint. Listen, this is an exciting time to enter the market and I would love to know your niche and who you plan to share your expertise in. I would really love to know. You know your expertise from the previous one. You know your audience from this one. And together, you can have your niche. So enter in the comments below and then come back here to check out the next video where you're going to discover exactly what it takes to turn your expertise into amazing content. And that content, by the way, that turns into money. That's right. In the next video, we're going to talk about the fastest way to monetize your expertise through delivering craveable content. My name is Donna St. Louis, and I absolutely positively look forward to seeing you here next time. So, I'll see you on the other side.